Good evening and welcome to Upeo TV. I am your host Isako Kushi. Tonight, four developing stories shaping Africa's political, economical, and environmental future. Conflict-driven crime in Sudan, growing threat of AI-powered misinformation, mounting fiscal pressures facing governments, and accelerating deforestation in Kenya with long-term consequences for livelihood and climate stability. Welcome back, viewers. On to our first story. Sudan's ongoing conflict is being fueled by a deadly struggle over gold. Armed groups are exploiting mining areas to finance violence, prolong war, and destabilize the region. As civilians are displaced and communities collapse, Sudan's mineral wealth has become both a curse and a drive of crime. Now, let's hear from our correspondent.
As Sudan's brutal civil war grinds on, experts are tracing its fuel to a surprising source: gold. Beneath the desert sands lie some of Africa's largest untapped reserves, and the fight to control them is now directly financing the violence that has displaced millions. This is the engine of the war. Sudan is Africa's third largest gold producer, but the state has never truly controlled it. For years, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, built its power not as a military unit, but as a gold mafia. They secured the informal mines, taxed the miners, and controlled the smuggling routes. That gold bought the weapons, the loyalty, and the political power that made this conflict inevitable. The RSF doesn't just tax the gold, it conscripts the population. Communities in Darfur and Kordofan are forced to work the mines under threat. The gold then travels east, not to the central bank in Khartoum, but out through smuggling networks to Port Sudan or across the Sahara. From there, it's flown to refineries in Dubai and other hubs, where it enters the legitimate global market, laundered and untraceable. The bullets killing civilians in Khartoum today were bought with gold dug yesterday in Darfur. This is a resource curse in its deadliest form. The Sudanese army is also fighting for control over these mines, but it's largely lost the battle on the ground. The result is a war financed in real time by a self-sustaining economy of gold. International sanctions exist, but they are meaningless without enforcing them on the ground and at the refining hubs abroad. The global demand for gold and the willful blindness of the markets that trade it is quite literally funding a genocide. So the equation is tragically simple. The international price of gold hits record highs, that revenue flows directly to the RSF's war chests, the paramilitary expands its control, committing atrocities to secure more territory and more mines. The conflict lengthens, the suffering deepens. The world's desire for a safe haven asset is ensuring there is no safe haven for the people of Sudan.
Thank you so much for all the insights. Now let's invite our analyst. Welcome, Adano. How significant is gold in sustaining the Sudan's conflict?
In context with the current situation in Sudan, which hasn't been good for a while now, some regional actors tend to back rival forces who compete for the control of the gold reserves and mining.
Who benefits most from the illicit gold trade?
Majority tend to be partisan into the conflict because one thing that gold control is of economical strength and for the ongoing process. So either the rival part or the government part wants to control the gold reserves. But now when you bring the artisans into the factor, they are the key players because it's what they are involved in day-to-day activities of their life. So with them, with them on the rival side, that means that they're undermining the control of the gold mining by the state.
How are the UAE benefiting from this gold trade?
Okay. For either parties that controls the gold, that might be a positive impact. But if you check at the larger scale of whatever is happening in Sudan, the value of gold going up doesn't actually mean that it will be of positive impact. Either way, if the gold is controlled by groups like the RSF, where now this gold will get into hands of it will get into wrong hands, and that might lead to sanctions, might lead to lose of market for the gold international or in the regional areas, and also increase the ongoing humanitarian. So the proceeds of the gold can be of good benefit if it's in the control of the government, but bad if it's in the rival party.
Thank you so much for that insight. While conflict is financed through physical resources like gold, another battlefield is emerging online. Across Africa and beyond, misinformation, increasingly powered by artificial intelligence, is reshaping public opinion, elections, and trust in institutions. On to our second story. Artificial intelligence has transformed how information is created and shared. But at the same time, the tool is now being used to spread misinformation at an unprecedented speed. From deepfakes to manipulation of political content, AI driven falsehood are blurring the truth, undermining democracy, and confusing the public. Now we head to our correspondent to give us more insight on the story.
The digital landscape is now a battleground, and artificial intelligence is a new weapon of choice. In recent months, we've seen AI generated audio deepfakes impersonating political leaders in elections across Africa, fabricated videos spreading false claims about public figures, and bot networks amplifying diverse content at an alarming scale. Tools like ChatGPT and DeepSync, while revolutionary in productivity, are also misused to generate convincing text-based disinformation in multiple local languages. The speed and volume at which the false content spreads outpaces the fact-checking efforts, leaving media outlets and governments struggling to keep up. The core question is no longer about technology, but about accountability. Who controls the algorithm that is reshaping the truth itself?
Thank you so much. Now we are introducing our analyst. Welcome so much to Upeo TV. Which AI tool do you think is better, ChatGPT or DeepSeek?
OpenAI is based in America. The DeepSeek one is based in China. So you have two entities from two different countries. They all play on different roles and analysis. And they get to receive different kinds of data. So the two companies, I'd say they have different goals and they have different kind of goods that they take. But information is still information, just that how they feed it to you and how they see it is what is different. But most people rely on the American one because America is kind of it's the information hub of everything mostly all around the world. So most people use the American company, which is OpenAI. And recently the Alphabet one, which is Gemini. So Gemini is from Alphabet, which is the Google company, the Google parent company. So
Now, if we delve into the business side of it, OpenAI a while ago gave NVIDIA a $400 billion contract to make chips. What do you think about that in the AI space?
That's what you call an AI bubble. So NVIDIA offers the physical infrastructure, which is the chips, and AI is the software part of it. So for AI to run swiftly, it needs a physical presence. So NVIDIA offers the physical, rather we call them supercomputers, for the AI to be able to run in that particular machine. So NVIDIA right now is in a bubble where they get all the gains, whether AI works, whether AI fails, everyone wants the machines for them to input the AI systems for them to test them, for them to make them work. So yes, also NVIDIA right now is gaining, really is gaining actually. And we don't know where it's going to get to. That's the thing. But according to whatever information you given about the foreign investment that they actually got, it speaks of how they were able to capture the particular aspect of business where you have someone who is in demand or something and you can offer the product. So on their end, on the end of AI now, OpenAI, that's a different entity because now their product is now artificial intelligence specifically, and mostly now right now just doing research. So I can say the biggest gain right now, rather the company with the biggest gain is NVIDIA, and for the artificial intelligence, for now you just have to wait for the next 5 years and see how it's going to play around, and you can see whether OpenAI is going to rise up in the business market or if it's just going to be stagnant.
Are governments and media equipped to counter it?
Telling the difference between what's real and what's AI is just goes down to verification. In security, there's a section called verification, and there's a platform called, rather than triage, called the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity, and availability. Sorry. So in those areas, you make sure that whatever we're receiving is actually integral to whatever you actually wanted. Is it confidential enough that you receive this from a specific entity? You can verify that this is actually from the specific entity. So for that aspect and for that area, you just have to verify that whatever information you're receiving is actually the correct information that you wanted. So it goes for you to do your research and you don't receive feedback from one entity. So you keep on feeding and feeding, rather call it redundancy. You do it on one system, you do it on another system, and you ask someone else to do it on also their own system, just to prove that okay, this is what is actually true, what is false.
What responsibility do tech companies carry in controlling AI misuse?
The big companies in artificial intelligence, you have OpenAI. We also have Alphabet. Alphabet is Google's, and the Chinese one is DeepSeek. DeepSeek or DeepSeek. One, two, forgetting. So, but the major players in the AI kind of family are OpenAI and Alphabet, because those are the two now competing. And I think recently OpenAI has fallen short because of their promises which they have not been able to achieve. How to prevent being tricked by AI? So, like I said, verification. There are security protocols, rather security spheres that usually say have proper passwords, have proper multi-factor authentications and verifications. So for me to know that this is not an AI, do you usually see this website showing something called a capture thing, where you have to point out this is probably a room or probably this is a bar or something different. So those are features that you can use to tackle AI, because AI can't be able to capture that. AI is mostly a figure that goes with 1 and 0. So if the system can't be able to move around, rather if a human detection is basically showing that okay, there's a print that is going on around the screen that can be able to move from one point to another. And the random patterns are what verify that this person is human, how you click and all. So basically it's just the verification that you are human and you're in a system that is being, rather it's a hybrid platform where there's artificial intelligence and then there's the normal part of normal computing, rather normal computing. So the verification is what's going to prove that this person is a human and this person is not human.
Thank you so much. Beyond information warfare, governments are facing another mounting challenge. Money, rising debt, shrinking revenues, and global economic uncertainty are placing immense fiscal pressures on developing economies, forcing tough choices that directly affect ordinary citizens.
As I look into the horizon, I relax and smile away as the message comes my way. Ruka mabonde na milima, popote ujumbe ufikapo. M-Pesa, huduma yasifika. Yeah. Wateja kweli ni baraka, kutoa pesa ni haraka. With M-Pesa, you do more. I can pay for the lights, send it from abroad, it's alright. My school fees and salary, you can always top up your life. Whatever you need, M-Pesa brings you relief. Wherever you are fine. Let's cherish the joy it brings. Popote unaenda, M-Pesa ipo. Relax, uko na M-Pesa. M-Pesa.
Welcome back from the break. Thank you for staying tuned. On to our third story. Across Africa, governments are grappling with severe fiscal pressures. High public debt, inflation, and reduced donor support are straining national budgets. As states cut spending or raise taxes, citizens are feeling the impact through higher living costs, reduced public services. Now we can hear from our correspondent.
From Nairobi to Accra, finance ministries are facing perfect storm. Rising global interest rates have made debt repayment exorbitantly expensive, while inflation erodes purchasing power and tax revenues. At the same time, traditional development assistance is shrinking, and climate-related disasters are straining national budget further. The result is that the government are being forced into difficult trade-offs, that is, cutting subsidies, reducing social spending, or increasing taxes, all of which hit low and middle-income households the hardest. We are already seeing protests in several countries over the removal of fuel and food subsidies. Without sustainable debt restricting and policies that protect the most vulnerable, these fiscal pressures risk undermining not just economic stability but social peace.
Thank you so much. As economies struggle to stay afloat, environmental degradation continues to be largely unchecked. Here in Kenya, deforestation is accelerating, threatening water sources, wildlife, food security, and livelihood of communities that depend on forests. Kenya is losing its forests at an alarming rate. Illegal loggings, agricultural expansion, and climate pressures are destroying critical ecosystems. Beyond environmental damage, deforestation is worsening droughts, reducing rainfall, and placing rural communities at growing economic risk. Now we move to our correspondent. Turning to an environmental emergency here at home, Kenya is losing an estimated 50,000 hectares of forest each year. The drivers are clear: illegal logging syndicates, uncontrolled charcoal production, and conversion of forest land to agriculture, often in protected areas like Mau Complex and the Cherangani Hills. The consequences are already severe. Rivers that communities depend on are drying up. Rainfall patterns are becoming more erratic, and biodiversity is in steep decline. While the government has launched tree planting initiatives and deployed forest rangers, enforcements remain weak and corruption enables the destruction to continue. For millions of Kenyans who rely on forests and water, food and income, this isn't just an environmental story, it is a survival crisis. From war economies in Sudan to digital deception, economic strain, and environmental loss at home, tonight's story reveals a shared reality. When systems fail, whether political, technological, economical, or environmental, it is ordinary people who bear the consequences. This is Upeo TV. I am your host, Isako Bushi.